Hello and welcome to the HI European Market Neutral monthly video update for May 2023. I'm Paul Marriage of Tolworth Investments. So this has been quite a good month for the fund. Nice to see some positive momentum coming back. That's against the background of quite a mixed market. The UK was pretty weak. The majority of the assets in this fund are invested in UK markets. UK down 2-3%, whereas US probably ended flat. And within that, an awful lot of noise, and we're used to that clearly, but AI was probably one of the big themes this month. AI has been a big theme across markets, and it is generally something that people are talking about an awful lot everywhere, all industries, what are the impacts. But I think the warning from Chegg in the US was probably the first time stock markets really focused on perhaps some of the negative and perhaps corollary positive opportunities. And so the AI trade was definitely one that spooked people. We did well on one particular stock, Keywords, which we see as much as it's a good business. We think a lot of the outsourcing work it does for gamers could be AI'd out. So that was a pretty weak share. That was caught up in that one as well. Generally, I think if we look at the overall mix of the market for us, stocks that had to talk about the economy were probably a bit less optimistic. Watches of Switzerland had a pretty dull statement on consumer demand. RS, which is a broad industrial exposure, perhaps highlighting slightly weaker demand there across the broad industrial base, UK and US. So some of those stocks are a little bit sort of maybe corroborating the overall kind of tougher macro environment. And I think one of the really big themes we're looking at the middle of the year now, and as we go through a period of reporting, is first half, second half weightings. This is something we've looked at for a long time, but to some extent we're playing a waiting game for the weightings at the moment in terms of so many stocks have got a second half weighting this year. At some point fairly soon we'll be seeing, do these stocks, can these stocks actually deliver the second half numbers that their forecasts are predicting, or are they just being too optimistic? Are they hanging on to the hope? We will have to see basically as to how that is, and we need to look at that. And it's an area we've looked at a lot in the past, and there could be some interesting opportunities in the short, but probably for companies that are going to struggle to meet their second half. We think the whole real estate, industrial, building materials complex is looking a little bit too optimistic for the second half, as an example. I think overall, what this month has told us is that there's been a bit of a return to stability, safe stories, some good stock individual wins like M&S, UK retailer, Bytes, UK software reseller, Ocado has been a good short on the expansion of its technology into the US, perhaps not working as well as planned. So while we've had some good stock wins, we've probably also seen that it's not been a month for the value junkies. It's been a month for when people have wanted to seek out stable earnings, and perhaps reflecting that as we're looking into the year, people are looking at a weaker macro environment again and wondering where that's going to go. And then, of course, from there, when do we look through that to recovery? So it's a little bit Groundhog Day, but overall, we've navigated pretty well so far. We've got lots of ideas on the hopper. So these sort of uncertain markets, should they continue, don't particularly give us great fear. We just got to keep at it and keep our quantitative and qualitative screenings and move on from the period of company reporting into perhaps a more reflective period over the summer. Thank you very much again for your support, and I look forward to updating you again next month.